Hello there, and welcome to a special episode of Imbibe Cinema. I'm Michael Noens, and I'm thrilled to share that Season 3 is in production and will debut next month on November 27th. We've got several special guests lined up and some other fun surprises, so keep an ear out for more of our shenanigans before you head into the Thanksgiving weekend. All right, real quick, before we begin, I'd like you to consider supporting the show by becoming an Imbibe Cinema member. When you become a member, you get access to a variety of exclusive content, including monthly limited release independent films and upcoming member-only podcast content. Another great benefit of becoming a member is that you get access to the 2025 Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival virtual experience next spring. That means you get to watch all participating official selections from wherever you are in the United States. That's right, it's just included in the membership. So, it should come as no surprise to you that the Imbibe Cinema podcast is brought to you by the Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival, otherwise known as BWIF. The festival celebrates independent, character-driven films of all lengths, styles, and genres. To learn more, visit bwiff.com. That's BWIFF.com. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a special episode for you today. An episode that I'm particularly excited about because the film we're discussing is one that I produced and directed 15 years ago. And that film is Coasting. That's a taste of composer Jeff Shell's original score. While my producing partner Dave Grelk and I were cutting the film, we had tracks from Simon and Garfunkel from beginning to end. The film was very segmented with them, but it captured the feel that we were going for. We got so used to watching the film with songs like April Come She Will, America, Bookends theme, and so many others that it became near impossible to imagine it without them. Enter Jeff Shell. A great composer ties the whole film together with music that tells a story on its own. And that's exactly what Jeff did with this beautifully unique score. As I mentioned, my producing partner on the film was screenwriter Dave Grelk. We developed the story and characters together, and then Dave brought it all to life on the page with his brilliant and witful dialogue, and of course, his signature references and Easter eggs.
You choose a topic, anything goes.
Anything goes, eh?
I'm full of secrets.
Where you're from, the birds sing a pretty song.
Yeah, and there's always music in the air. And it's that late hour in the evening where you invariably tell someone you don't know something fairly embarrassing about yourself in a hotel bar.
Those are the film's stars, Jonathan C. Legat and Stephanie Wyatt, two wonderfully talented actors and delightful human beings that led this great cast of characters. A while back, during the COVID-19 pandemic actually, I got on a call with John and Stephanie to catch up and talk about this gem of a picture that we made oh so many years ago. Let's go ahead and jump into that conversation with Stephanie and John as they reflect on their time on set.
John, I want to ask you the first question.
All right.
Which is, what is your best memory on set? Because I definitely I have so many from that set.
Yes. Yeah, that's more than fair. I would say my best memories on that set are of the people that we were working with. I think that like the outtakes specifically help with that. I think the one that immediately comes to my mind is the time that I tried to concuss myself on the ball. We're you and I are at the bar having a conversation, and I decide to blow my own brains out and do the whole thing. And then, like, any limp person, I slammed my head on the bar and immediately looked at everyone and went, what? So yeah, I think that might be my absolute favorite moment
I heard that from across the bar.
It was loud. It's in the outtake. You hear it. It's an active thud.
Yeah.
What about you? Your favorite moment on set?
Oh God, there really are. I mean, I agree with you. When I think back to coasting, I think of it felt like, and I mean this in the sense of so much fun and camaraderie. It felt like filmmaking, like summer camp, because we also kind of made it during a summer, but it just in the sense of like, I just, I felt like I was making this movie with my friends, and I don't think that I quite understood how good it was going to be. I knew it was going to be good. Like, I love the script and I love you guys, but then when you have that much fun, you're like, oh, I don't know. And then it was so good.
Yeah.
I think my favorite acting moment though was probably with you, John, because I don't know if you remember this moment. And it was, I think, as far as an actor, it was one of the moments that I probably felt the most. Do you remember when we're at the door of the hotel room?
Uh-huh.
You already know, where we're going. And you're deciding, like, I can't do this, and I'm begging you. And we remember that moment. I don't know how we got there so easily, except for obviously great direction and great trust between us. But that moment to me was probably one of the most honest moments for me as an actor. Like, I just remember, like, knowing, like, I didn't have to be anything other than in that moment with you. And it only could have happened with, the trifecta, that was there at the time, because it takes so much trust and vulnerability. But that moment, man, and it was so funny because, like, it wasn't even like after it finished, you were like, you're so in it.
Oh yeah.
That it was like, oh my God, we just lived that.
I know.
Together,
It was heartbreaking because that scene was as as honest as you get, and you absolutely crushed that scene too. So that's
it's because I really, and other movies that we ended up doing, and I mean, I'm sure you can speak on this. I know Mike has directed so many movies at this point, but as just being a romantic lead, or even just romantic with anyone in a movie, or being vulnerable, man, you learn. And I, did a few other things after coasting where it was so much harder. And again, I was gifted this gift of this director that I was friends with and trusted, and then this co-star that I was friends with and trusted. And I don't think that you quite realize how absolutely much of a gift that is until you're with people, and I'm not saying it's bad, but you just don't have that with.
Over the Tavern, a theatrical play. The first time that we met, you played my daughter.
Over the Tavern was one of my favorite plays I've ever done in my whole life. And I feel like I've told you guys this story, but just for the general public to know, I had no intention of, I was in Chicago in Logan Square, and I was like, oh, I'm just trying to do anything, get out there. And I remember driving out, and I was driving, and I was like, where the hell am I going? I'm totally lost, no sense of direction. And then I arrive at this beautiful theater, and you guys are there. And I honestly remember auditioning and being like, that fucking sucked. Man, that sucked. And I left, and I felt like Mike, Mike was just in his world being Mike. And he was just like, for me, I was so in my head of convinced I sucked that I felt like he was like, oh yeah, bye. And I was like, man, what were you doing? And so I left, and then I got a call back. But then I get there, and it's like all you guys know each other, and now I'm like, man, this is bad. They must be really needing people, you know, because I know I did that audition. Mike and I connected. I knew, I was like, I know, I get him. I dig this guy. Like we're here creatively, you know. And then you and I read together at some point, John, and it just was like so easy, and like the rest was just kind of history, and it was a freaking blast.
Yeah,
it's a blast.
No, I loved that show.
So the fact that we all kind of got that warm up and then went into coasting,
yes,
just made it so much more fun. Would you perform any of the scenes or subject matter differently now, if we did it right now?
There's only one scene that I would really like to redo. And it's for the most selfish reason of all.
It's great.
Well, actually, I guess there's two. They have the same relation to what was happening. I was very congested at one point during the filming, and I know specifically there's two scenes where it's really apparent how stuffed up I was. There's the scene in the gazebo with Emily Skyle. And then the one that my loving brother-in-law and my wife never let me live down, which is in the washroom with Chris Weiss. When I simply say 2 words, and they will say that to me. Anytime I get congested, they're like, Harris, don't. Yeah. Watch the movie again, and when you hear me say that, like, just, I'm like full Woody Allen right now. I'm like, Harris, don't. Like, horrible.
You know, I did notice in that scene that you were, like, I mean, because I know you sounded like this much different, but I always thought it was like, oh, he's very emotional, you know?
He's having a bad allergy attack, and he is congested AF. And it's only because of that. It's like, I'm trying to, like, subject matter wise, I honestly think that we did such a good job. But like, we were so honest with each other and with the characters and with the subject matter that, like, to me, trying to redo any of those scenes, or trying to tackle it in a different way, just it would not feel as honest, I think, in the way of the film. And so to me, it's pure narcissistic, selfishness. I'd want a performance back just to make it cleaner.
There's no shame in that, John.
Yeah. What about you?
I think there was one scene where we were filming outside, and I was talking to was he my boyfriend or fiance? I can't remember, but Adam, on the phone, and he was watching a football game, and I do what?
The cicadas?
No. Forget this. I was so into what I was doing, I didn't even realize there were cicadas. There could have been a dying cat, and I wouldn't have noticed.
That's awesome.
I was performing, okay? But I think I wasn't the way, like, I don't know. For some reason, I mean, this is like the tiniest thing. It was just like, I just wasn't like invested in him as much as I would be, like, knowing, like, when a relationship, the worst part of a relationship is not even the end. It is when you know it's ending. That's the worst part, okay? The end is like ripping the Band-Aid off. It's the slow death that just sucks. And that's where we were. And I think, once again, I didn't give it that, like, tired gravity. And it's like, it's such a small thing, but, nitpicky things like that.
See, I actually love the performance, specifically of the hope that you get, as if the relationship is not about to end, when he's like, hey, can you and you're like, oh, well, like, there's a renewed thing, and he's like, can you pick me up some Taco Bell? And you're just like, God, like, I think you absolutely crushed that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's those nitpicky things that when you look back, you're like,
Well, those are especially also hard to do when, one, you don't know the other person's performance, so you're playing in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But I love that scene. Other than the cicadas.
Yeah, they are there though. I remember hearing them on the other side of things. Yeah.
Do you like watching yourself in films?
No.
Okay.
No.
I do.
I don't think it's bad. No, let me say this. So like when coasting first came out, I was like, I'd like peek, and I actually when I watched coasting with my family, I had them watch it, and I just had a pillow right here, right here. But here's the thing. I think you have to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should call Meryl. Maybe she has better advice. But I know that there are things that, like, whether it was Mike or just whoever is directing you, that whether you didn't nail or like something's going on and you're not connecting, whether you're watching playback or whether you're watching the actual finished product, I think you can learn.
Oh yeah.
Yourself. And I think that's why it's actually good. That's like, taking a test but not looking at, like the final graded thing. Yeah. Like, so I do feel, I know a lot of people don't, and I get that, but for me, I had to be like, no, I can learn from this because I want to be better, Like, why the football players watch the game in the locker room.
Yep, and review the tapes.
Yeah, football stuff. But yeah, they watch that.
Most of the guys here don't care if they win or not. You know what I mean? Just to be able to build a car for this event, bring it out here, race your buddies, run on the beach all day is just fantastic. That's what it's all about. Clear that out.
I've never raced on the beach before in my life. No, I just hope I can keep it out of the water. That's about it.
The Race of Gentlemen is a documentary that was filmed over the course of 3 years about men who build hot rods and then race them at an annual event with the same name. Members can watch The Race of Gentlemen on Imbibe Cinema streaming, along with a narrative short film from Turkey called Mirati, now through October 31st, 2024. Now, back to the show.
When it comes to the subject matter, obviously, two cousins who don't know their cousins, but they fall in love, and in the end, they obviously search each other out. What was your initial thought when you read the script to the subject matter?
Man, it's so funny because my thoughts then and my thoughts now are so different. But I think at the time, I felt like I think at the time I didn't see how it could really happen. I'll say it like that. Like, okay. I felt like you would find out and you would kind of be able to say, oh, I had these feelings, but I found these things out. I can cut that off. As a human that's now lived a little more and fallen in love with people that you're not supposed to fall in love with, or you don't want to be in love with, you kind of realize that's like just not how it goes, buddy. Yep. And you're just kind of, it's that thing where it's like, if we only could choose who we love sometimes, so at the time, I thought it was really interesting because I was like, man, we're taking a little bit of a, creative leap. I can dig that. Royals do it. I am from Kentucky. It's not that far-fetched, No, I was just kidding. What about you? What do you think?
So I will state I was a little spoiled because I knew of the script before, but at the same time it was one of the major things that drew me to the script and to Wesley in general. I mean, you know, it's independent films, so there's your opportunity to really kind of try to stretch it. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's that much of a stretch, as you said. You know, once you've lived a little, you know, who you fall in love with is who you fall in love with. And I feel that the script does such a great job of making the honest discussion of like, we know that we should not be doing this. And yet maybe there's something to this. And do we go down this road or no, we shouldn't. We've been waxing and waning. And I think that it's how it dealt with the subject matter and just came to the point of like, love is love.
Yeah. I like what you just said. It's funny because so many, I think love stories, whether it's, you know, the affair or, you know, some other kind of forbidden thing, it's all kind of like very similar in that sense. And yeah, I felt like it was a really, it was an interesting twist because I had not really seen that, you know. I know this is one of the questions and I'm kind of jumping, but I'm like dying to just tell you this. And Mike, I was thinking of you because I remember us having a conversation of the moment where we met at the bar again the second time. And we had that moment where we come together, which was so, love it still to this day. I can see it. It's just so great.
You only come so far down the bar.
Yes. And even the way the shot was like framed and, you know, the push, I mean, just was all great. But it is interesting because I think I remember Mike talking to me about this moment because I remember the first few times the gravity was not there. And I'm not even sure I still got the gravity in the actual take that was used. But I will say when Mike and I were talking about that at that time, I was like, yeah, I get it. I got it. But I don't now living life more. I was like, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like the door scene that we were talking about. I felt that. I knew that. I lived that. I lived that with you in that moment, you know, but that scene for whatever reason, I think I was going through so much stuff personally, just so much going on. I don't know. Whatever Mike was seeing, he was seeing what I now see what he was seeing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
so that's a scene you feel that that you would try to do differently?
You know, as an actor, you want to feel that edification of knowing you felt it.
Yes.
And it's like I kind of did, but I don't think I felt it to the extent that I could have. But that the whole movie really was it was you know kind of like this romantic comedy dramedy that had so much more depth that like I don't know, again, as you live life you're just like, God, dude, that was just saying so much, you know.
Yeah, I think the side characters are some of the best to that film. You know, I mean, you've got Adam Rosowitz as your partner in crime, and then Emily Skyle as mine, Chris Wright, Chris Weiss, and of course Trisha, and then my parents, Madeline Franklin is
oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude. And Madeline, you know, when we did those scenes, she's so freaking brilliant.
Yes.
She just
Spot
is
on with that character.
And it was intimidating. It was intimidating acting with her, you know, because I knew that she just was a freaking ninja. I mean, she just is, you know, and she just was there. There was no question if she was there with you. She was there, you know.
Yeah. No, she is incredibly professional.
Yeah.
But I will state, no matter what ends up happening, the scene where we're in the car and all of a sudden she just shows up in the window, I jump every time. Like every time it's, she's so good at just stepping into frame. And you're like, oh God, they're so dead. Yeah.
You know what scene I wish I was there with you guys was that dinner scene you all filmed.
Oh, that was fun.
Man, you could see the fun. I want you to know, as someone who was not there,
Yeah.
I had FOMO seriously bad.
There was an absolute mess
You
of
could
an ad lib.
see it. You could see the joy, the true, sincere joy in your all's faces of that scene.
Were there specific moments with? I mean, you mentioned Emily Skyle, but are there other moments that you remember with different castmates?
Oh yeah. I mean, Chris Weiss just cracked me up. You and Chris together were ridiculous. I mean, you all cannot be better brothers.
Yes.
What?
I said we are a lot together.
You guys were cracking me up. Was it BJ that was the janitor?
Yes. Oh, BJ Foley steals the scenes.
I mean, steals the frickin' scenes. Steals. I'm so glad. I'm like, you get that.
Yep.
I can still just see him like turning off the vacuum and being like eking out of the scene.
Yep. Not a single line of dialogue, and you're like, I get everything that's going on with him.
Yeah, yeah, you really do. I mean, he crushed it, and I think, I loved your breakup scene with Emily. Not the gazebo one, in the hotel room when she came, and then she's like, I can't, as much as that she was so opposite of you and you guys were not a match, she had so many valid points. Like,
yes.
You were kind of wanting her to be different. She was wanting you to be different. And I don't know, that scene was such a really interesting breakup scene in the sense it was balanced. There wasn't a real villain.
Yeah, no.
So cool,
Yeah. No,
so, yeah.
you nailed that performance too.
Yeah.
I did feel like the villain and a piece of shit while filming. So that's
triple check.
Yeah.
Also, someone that I just thought, we mentioned Madeline and but Bill Redding having that conversation with you at the bar.
Yeah.
Man, I watched that the other day and was just like,
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yep. Like I said, every performance in this is just honest.
It really is. Oh, what about the read-through? I wanted to ask you about that. What were your all's thoughts on the read-through? And I ask you this because Emily Skyle was telling me some stuff about the read-through. This is like, what, 2 years ago or whatever? And she said awful things about all of you. No, I'm just kidding. No. I think I was so intimidated and excited and overwhelmed by this opportunity that at the read-through for me, I was just like, whoo, okay, we got this, you got this. And Emily mentioned how, like, I guess when she was like either coming in or leaving or something, I just was like, hi, and like ran away, scurried.
Oh, okay.
And she took it as like at the time that I was like, look, I'm the star.
Oh, no.
Which, I mean, I wish that were more of it. It was more of just like a painful insecurity that I was like, these people are really good. I don't know if I can do this. I'm having a mental breakdown.
I mean, I remember the read-through was at Essence Photography.
Yeah.
And I mean, we round-tabled that thing. I don't recall anything other than just absolute amazing fun the entire time. But yeah.
No, I agree, because when we read the script, like I had walked in with like a knot in my stomach, and I was like, "You got this, you got this. Good thoughts in, bad thoughts out. Good bad, good bad, good bad." And and like, but it flowed. It really just was like it was like the easiest game of tennis, you know, like it just flowed, and I was like, okay, I feel better.
I will state it does help that most of the crew and some of the cast knew each other, and I think even those people who this was their first either CNGM or you know, I mean, you and I worked together in 2 plays now, we've at least established before we got to film. You know, I mean, like, I feel like CNGM and a lot of the people in like the Palatine area and even Chicago in general are just kind of welcoming. And you know, if you end up walking into a group that is already kind of established, especially with CNGM, I don't feel that they're ever standoffish and like, look, this is the group of people who know each other.
No.
Like, we're really welcoming, and so I hope everybody who was new to the group felt warm and fuzzy.
Well, I consider myself new to it, and I definitely did. So. I got us off track.
No, that's all right. Comedy is this. At first, I was going to say the scene I would have loved to have been there for.
Thank you.
Was the sex scene between you and Adam, and then I went, oh no, I was there. I was helping with lighting and cameras, so I'm like, oh no, I was there. Okay.
Man,
he had just the stupid things he would say after
climax
finishing were just so outlandishly funny.
Yeah, try being under him, trying not to laugh.
I can literally only imagine.
Yeah, he was. He was such a good sport about it, though. Because I mean, that's so. And with our sex scene,
yes,
thank God it was you, because it's like those are so. I don't care. I mean, for like the actors that get straight up butt naked, like Monsters Ball situation, that's so much trust.
Yes. You know, I mean, thanks to us having worked together, I can only imagine being on a set where you don't know, you don't have any sort of rapport with that individual yet. By the end of the night, you're going to.
Yeah.
But you know, like there is a lot of trust to that, and so that was much easier to go through those scenes, you know, knowing the person, being able to trust that person. So
yeah, well, also trust the crew that's seeing you in a super vulnerable position, you know, and
staring at you.
Yeah, staring, watching, and you know, I mean, I think our chemistry in that movie was because you and I had become such good friends. Yeah. And there was again, back to the trust thing, you know, and we just had like this amazing rapport. And I think that's why that chemistry worked so well. And I think it showed.
Yeah. I think that I believe us. Whatever that's worth.
The next time we're all together,
yes,
perhaps we can think maybe we'll just do coasting too. I don't know.
There you go.
Somebody's
revenge. I don't know whose revenge though.
When our children do what?
Maybe we meet our other cousins.
We start questioning the family tree.
Yeah.
Straight up, Dan.
Family tree.
That could be fun.
I like it.
Film it for the 20 year?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
Well, kids,
thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Love you guys too.
Yes, love you guys. Tell everyone I said hi.
Will do.
All right. Bye guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. Coasting is now available to watch for free on Imbibe Cinema streaming. Visit imbibecinema.com and create an account with our free Flight of Cinema bundle. Opportunities to see the film on the big screen begin next week, October 15th, 2024, at the Music Box Theater in Chicago. And there will likely be some other pop-up screenings throughout next year, as it is the film's 15th anniversary. Just a quick reminder, a great way to support this show and the Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival is to become an Imbibe Cinema member. It's only $59.99 per year, and the benefits are pretty great. So please consider joining. You can find a link on how to become a member in our show notes. New episodes of the Imbibe Cinema podcast will begin Wednesday, November 27th. Until then, cheers.